shoes scraped on the bare wood floor and covers were lifted off dishes, and the usual Monday disappointment showed in the girls' faces because Monday was always cold leftovers and beetroot, though you could always hope for something more, like an extra scoop of mashed potato. Perhaps there would be a pudding, jam roly-poly that we called matron's leg, or even pie. Then everyone sat down and water jugs were passed and the prefects began doling out the food. By this time Hannah and I had slipped into our places, but not unobserved as we'd hoped. Being late for anything was a crime and would be marked up against us. We would be seen to be potential troublemakers, Hannah Farrell and Claudia Prescott, simply because we had been late together. Efforts would be made to separate us as soon as possible. We would be told that the other was a bad influence. It had all begun with our being late for lunch, coming in shamefaced but without even an apology. Later we stood before the housemistress on a patch of carpet worn away by many miscreants' feet and muttered, "Yes, Miss McKinley, sorry, Miss McKinley," while we tried to escape her piercing stare. Birds of prey, I discovered later in life, especially small hawks, were her prototype, and also not to cry. "What were you doing, Hannah?" "Playing chess, Miss McKinley. I forgot the time." "Well, Hannah, there is a chess club for that. Everything in its time and place." This Hannah told me afterwards with a smirk. We often quoted it to each other. Everything in its time and place. Later we shortened it to T&P. "T&P, Claudia, T&P," she'd hiss at me from time to time. It was McKinley's technique to spot and separate potential wrongdoers before they had even begun to do anything really wrong. She let us know this. She had her raptor's eye upon us almost from the beginning. She also knew who was what she called the ringleader and who the hapless follower. In our case, it seemed to be Hannah who led, leaving me billed as the stooge. But all this attention to rules and protocol, graces and rituals, tellings off and forced apologies only made it easier, and, yes, more necessary, for us to be the friends we became. 2. That was then. This is now, a lifetime later. On a hot afternoon in May, I'm in a classroom in a college town in Virginia. Different century, different continent. Green leaves at the high window like hands against the glass. Footsteps on the gravel outside, shouts from down below where students lounge on the dried grass, trees cast dense shadows, chestnut and live oak, and the whole semester shrinks to its end. In here, the smell of enclosed rooms, dust, hot bodies, the chill of air conditioning to keep us all awake. I'm teaching my advanced film studies group for the last time this semester. The credits have rolled and the screen is white again. We all go to sit around the table. There's the sound of chairs dragging on the floor and someone's phone buzzes. We've been watching Antonioni's film L'Avventura, made in 1959. It's old history, it's life in black and white. For them, it's strangely dressed people doing incomprehensible things. It doesn't even have a proper ending, they grumble. I was expecting this. We've talked about sound and how the camera follows each person along the narrow paths of the island. We've discussed the use of light and dark, the attention to detail, a cup on a table in the boat's cabin, a lit cigarette. But what they want is story, and they find it lacking. If Hannah is briefly in my thoughts as I watch this film again with my students, how many times have I watched it in my life? I forget. It's because I first saw it with her at the Arts Cinema in Cambridge in 1962. We sat on after everyone else had left in the dark cinema, and when the lights went up we were still sitting there. It was because there wasn't an ending, and also because the two women in it had nearly identical names to ours, Anna and Claudia. So yes, she is in my thoughts, not as a small girl in a school cloakroom, but as her student self, black-clad, loose-haired, smoking.